October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and today the San Diego County District Attorney's Office honored the 14 victims who lost their lives to domestic violence here last year.
CBS 8's Kelly Hessedall joins us live from Balboa Park with more on today's ceremony, which included a survivor of domestic violence who shared her powerful story. Kelly.
That's right, and the event was held here at the Balboa Park Club Ballroom. We heard from a number of speakers today, but by far the most compelling was a woman named Ivette Kuyateh, who talked about her mother, Rosa, who died at the hands of her abuser.
For many years, since she was 17, she lived with her abuser husband in Mexico. And week after week, as the alcoholism got worse, so did the beatings. When she finally tried to end that relationship, he shot her through the back and ended her life. Rosa was my mother. I was 11 years old when this happened. I was 11 years old when I saw her murderer out on bail, leaving the courthouse, driving away in his sports car.
And Kuyateh says her purpose in life was fueled by what happened to her mother. She became an attorney and an advocate for domestic violence victims, as she continues to be a voice for not only women, but also for children. Here in San Diego County, domestic violence is a big problem. According to SANDAG, last year, more than 17,000 incidents of domestic violence were reported to law enforcement across the county. And that's just the number of reported incidents. Experts say the actual number is likely much higher. Now, one of the big things talked about today is the need for a place for victims to go. Today, the council unanimously approved $6.2 million in grant money from the county for emergency shelter for survivors of domestic violence, as well as human trafficking and sexual assault victims. Certainly much needed funding. Kuyateh says without shelter, without financial means, victims feel like they cannot leave. Sadly, last year in San Diego, 14 people lost their lives to domestic violence. Today, candles were lit for all of the victims.
There were 10 victims that were directly killed by domestic violence abusers. 4 individuals were caught in the crossfires. There was one incident where an ex-boyfriend killed a new boyfriend, another incident where it was a family member, and so we honor all 14 of them who lost their lives.
Mayra Mejia Jimenez, Fanny Lugo Lopez.
And the names of all 14 victims were read. These were people with families, with loved ones. So back out here live, the San Diego Domestic Violence Council says the goal is to get that number of victims down to 0. It says it's going to continue to be a voice for victims until that happens. Heather and Carlo.
Yeah, Kelly, obviously some very touching testimony there. Who were some of the other speakers that stood up there on that podium today?
Well, we heard from Sheriff Kelly Martinez, who grew emotional talking about encountering a man who was beating his girlfriend. She helped arrest that man. The victim went to the hospital. She visited the victim in the hospital only to find out that that victim did not want to press any charges against her boyfriend. We also heard from the chief probation officer, Tamika Nelson, who talked about what it was like growing up in an abusive household. So we heard a number of powerful stories, a number of powerful messages. For more information, if you need resources, just go to CBS8.com.